when you're trying to hive a swarm, you want to try to look at how they're hanging. They have two globes here, if you notice. I'll turn them around a little bit. There's one section that's hanging on this branch, this little branch, and there's another section that's hanging on here. So you don't want to cut it and there's one hanging on here. See them all?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So it's like 3 little veins that they're hanging off of, or branches that they're hanging off of. So what we want to do is cut high enough so that we got them all in our capture piece. Right? But again, before we do anything, just take a look at the face, take turns or whatever you want to do, but just take a look at what they're doing on the face of this. They have these little waggle dances that are occurring, and the scouts are telling the bees that are on this swarm what they have found for a final location. Now they're not in total agreement yet, because my guess is they can't find anything right around here. So they're looking, but they've been hanging here for about 4 days. So that's too long for a swarm to hang. Sometimes they'll only hang for an hour or so. Now this bee here is shaking that other bee. See, that's a signal they give them when they want to wake them up. Because for about 70% of the time, bees sleep. And, they have to be, if this swarm is going to be successful in leaving, or this bivouac's going to be successful in leaving to another location, the bees have to be ready to fly. And if they're just hanging around sleeping, they won't move, right? So that's what they do when they're just about ready to leave this location. What they'll do is they'll just burrow in. Those scout bees will burrow in and excite the whole swarm into a frenzy. Then they'll take off in the air and go to their new location. But they're not ready to do that yet. So we're going to put them in this location. Okay. Now, we don't have a lot of room for extra colonies in here, so I'm doing something a little different with this swarm. You might notice that it's on a special kind of bottom board that's called a double screen. See it? It has these little doors in it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shake this bivouac into this box, put the comb back in, put the inner cover on, and let them settle in here. And then I'm going to take them and move them and put them on top of another colony. All right, so I'm going to have them on top of another colony flying out another way. All right, so I'm going to have, maybe we'll use this colony, we'll put this close, and we'll put that double screen on top of this colony, and there'll be 2 colonies there in the same location, but they'll be separated by that double screen, and they'll be able to fly out independently. All right, so then what we'll do is we'll leave them like that for the whole season, and then we'll select which queen we want to keep to overwinter, and then I'll just combine them. The idea in this maneuver is to get the queen in that box.
Yeah.
If the queen falls into that box, we're done, because the rest of the bivouac will follow her in. And then they'll decide that this is their home. You can see some of them are kind of curious about what's going on below. Where did this colony come from? I just put that there a little bit before we came here. All right, so you're going to go on this side. I'm not sure this is a good idea. You're going to go on that side. Then you're going to cut the branch right above my hand, but not, see those little things that look like flesh? Those are my fingers. Keep that far away from them.
Ready?
Go ahead. All right, now we got them. All right, so we got them right. So there they are. Now, if we can find a queen now, we just pick her up, put her in a cage, and then we would definitely have all of these bees. Okay, so let's take a good look at this before we shake them in.
Should she be in the middle though? Or?
Yeah, she's buried down in the center probably to try to, that's where she goes to keep her warm, and she's protected in there. Sure. So get them low, because we have a very, very easy shake here, right? All right, and you're going to go like this, right? You're going to just give them a good shake. Perfect. Another one. Great, you're done.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
All right, she got every bee in there almost, which is totally unusual. Give me those combs. We're still working on this project. Give me those combs. One more. You hear him making that noise? That fanning noise? Okay, there's an inner cover right there. I'm centering the frames before I selected these frames, I clean the shoulders on them so that they're right against each other, so there's no propolis or wax between them.
Were those drawn frames? I couldn't see.
Those were sort of drawn, yeah. There were some of them that were drawn and some of them that were not. Now, you're going to see some behaviors take place almost immediately. See, the bees are, like, we got so many of them in that box, which is so unusual. But we got the whole colony in there. If the queen is in there, you'll see a Nasanov behavior. So the bees will say, this is where we live now, and they'll start to show a little gland that's on their back tergite.
A what?
There's a little gland right there on their back abdomen, the back of their abdomen, which it'll show white. In this case, that bee's not doing it. But, and that little gland gives off a pheromone that signals to the, oh, there's one doing it, see? See it?
Oh.
You see that little, you gotta get closer to see it. But you see that little gland that's exposed there? Right at the tip.
underneath.
No,
Oh,
right at the
yeah.
tip on top.
Oh, wow.
So that bee is,
pumping it.
yeah, that bee.
Oh, yeah. So the queen's in there then, right?
That's a good sign.
Oh, okay.
Doesn't necessarily mean that she's in there, but you know, I like that idea. All right, so they're not going to use these side doors. Looks like they're going to use the front door. So let's close these, and so we're not confusing them. And that's it.
Not in my ear.
See that?
Look at that. Cool.
All right, we did it. So let's put something over that top hole so bees don't get confused about that. So at the end of this thing, we'll move it over. Ready? So now they're going to orientate to this space. They think they live here now. So those bees you see flying out in front right now are just saying, hey, you know, we live here. So let's figure out where it is. So that's what they're doing. All of this action here, this like circular action, is they're memorizing the location of this colony. So actually this deep is acting as a circle. So maybe, you know, if you guys want to spend 10 minutes, we got to figure out why this colony is so weak, right? This might be a queenless colony. If it is, then we'll throw that thing right in it, and we'll just transfer the colony right into this.
You wouldn't have to do the newspaper combine?
No, we won't. Not if it's queenless.
So could it also be weak because of mites?
Not likely.
Not likely because the other ones are clean?
Yeah, they all started at the same time, but the queen in this one gave up early, and I re-queened. It doesn't seem like it. 10 minutes to figure out what's wrong with this colony. Why is
Bill,
it?
you're not seeing any sign of robbing or anything on this one, right?
No. There's not going to be any robbing because there's still a decent flow. There's bees up here.
Yeah.
No, I'm smelling like a fermentation smell.
Really? What does that usually signal?
Fermentation.
It smells.
I think COVID took my sniffer away.
Did it?
Not been the same.
Okay, where's the guy who lifted the other one? There you go.
What do you want to do with it?
They lifted and put it on the ground. Put it like standing on its end like I had it.
Not as heavy as the other one.
It's not as heavy as the other one. All right, good. So it's not as much heavy. Here's some. All right, so right away we're not seeing any brood, right, between these boxes.
Yeah.
So you know that's different. All honey, no brood. All right, so that's the difference right away. You know this colony's not brooding up like the other one, right?
So it's questionable clean.
So let's see. Now, since I was gone, this colony's been queenless. If it went queenless, it's been queenless long enough to be a laying worker colony, which would be bad. But low population of bees, like compared to the other one, so you're really seeing the difference here.
So wouldn't they have built some queen cells and possibly should?
It may have swarmed, and that's
Emerged
why it may be really perfectly healthy and it's swarmed. So let's use our little technique and see if we can see swarm cells.
Get more drone in here.
There's a little bit more drone. Full of swarm cells. So this colony swarmed. All right, so that's why it looks weak. It's not actually weak, but and there's nice cap swarm cells. All right, so, yeah, so that's wonderful. So look, we got lots of queens in here.
Oh my goodness.
There's a cell there. There's a cell. So this cell has already emerged. So take special notice of this. See that cap on that swarm cell? That queen emerged.
Well, it emerged, so she's already out.
She's already out. And what happens is they leave a little flap at the end. So she cuts a ring, a semicircle ring with her mandible, but she leaves a little hook. So that looks like it's got something in it, but it won't have anything in it. It's totally there's nothing in that. She's already gone.
Yeah.
All right, so now the other thing we were going to do was make a split today.
Oh.
Right, so this is the perfect box to make a split in. So if somebody wants to go over and get that nuke box, we'll make a split real quick on this using these swarm cells.
Wow.
It's not a good idea to do that.
You're going to take some of these frames and just put in another one?
I'm just going to take one or two and see if we can raise a queen.
And let this one raise a queen?
This one is going to raise a queen. Yeah.
So you take one with the queen cell on it.
Yeah, we'll try to get the ones with queen cells on them and put them in another colony.
These are all queen cells.
Yeah, but there's a virgin on this cone. So if there's virgins that already emerged, so we don't have to worry about taking these swarm cells. The only thing we're doing by taking a swarm cell out of this colony right now is we're limiting the amount of survival competition between queens that emerge. So now, if a queen emerges now, she's going to get into a fitness contest with the virgin that's on the comb, and that's not going to go well.
How do you know there's only one that emerged?
Well, I don't know that, but let's take a look. Is this a queen cell that's in development, or did one emerge out of that?
Well, I think it's in development.
It's in development. Let's take a look.
Looks empty.
No, that's a queen that emerged. All right, so there's two that we know emerged, right? There's that one that we knew emerged. Where is that? They're right here. This one here. All right, so this is like really cool for you to see. You don't normally see this. So this is what a queen does to a cell. So watch what she did here, right? She ate out the side and got in there and stung that queen while she was in the cell. See
That's how they do it, huh?
That's how they do it.
So there's a couple of those already in there.
You see another one?
Where the sides were eaten out? Yeah.
There's another one that emerged. That's three, right? This one was killed. This one emerged.
Yeah. Right.
And the other
But
one
I
emerged.
saw one with another hole in the side.
That one.
These are all viable swarm cells. So for us to get what we really want is this cell. See it? That one, and possibly another frame. Maybe this one. That's a queen cell there. There's a nice queen cell here ready to emerge. See here on the side. So we just need one or two. This frame would be our best bet. See it?
Right.
Because it has two nice swarm cells on it. Might have a third down here.
Swarm swell.
And are you going to
queen
be able
cell.
to get that
Queen
out
cell.
of there without breaking it?
Well, so what we have to do,
You're going to pull them out a couple at a time?
what they did was they attached this swarm cell to this bottom board.
Yep.
This swarm cell is attached to this burr comb.
Okay.
Not much we can do about that. There you go. Perfect.
Bill, you wouldn't like just take one of the
You could.
cells out and just plop it in the middle of a...
You could do that if you wanted to. That's a little bit harder to do, but that would work. All right, so if you see what these bees are doing, so this bee here, what those worker bees are going to do is they're going to take the top layer of wax off of a queen cell. So when the queen's about to emerge, they help her by removing the wax. So they're going to use their mandibles and they bite the wax, they make it clean, and all you see is the silk that ends up. See, this is just silk here. See it? See what they did? They took all the wax off the top and they left the silk. That's the browner stuff. And that's what they're doing there. They're helping that queen emerge. That queen's just about to come out. If we knock that top of that cap off, that queen will be sort of viable, right? But see what they're doing now? They're all working on that cell. And you might see them vibrate the cell at times. They do it. You got to look really carefully. It's called vibrational signaling, and what they're doing is they're giving that queen inside that cell a signal that they want her to come out. All right, so that's what they're doing now. See it? See it?
Yes, yeah.
All right, so that's called vibrational. I have movies of that I've taken over the years. It's a really interesting phenomenon. You don't really observe it a lot unless you have somebody showing you what's going on. But that's what they were doing. That is a queen in there that's probably okay if we took her out.
But you're saying that there's already a viable queen in this.
There's 3 queens that came out.
Yeah.
So we don't know. So right now there could be a virgin on a mating flight.
Okay.
And we don't know that. This colony absolutely swarmed, right? Low population, but healthy queen. Right? So I'm changing my mind about making a nuke in this box. Because let's let her alone.
And so they'll just kill all the new ones that are less viable.
There will be
and
one
end up with
winning.
one.
There will
There'll
be one
queen.
queen standing after this drama's over.
And then when will all that comb go away, or will
They'll
it just
pull it. They'll
pull it down?
they'll take care of that once they once all of this is over with. They still there's a ton of drone on here, so this colony's being responsible. See all of this drone?
Yeah.
That's all drone comb.
Oh, yeah.
Can you see the difference between? There's a distinct difference between a drone cell that's going out horizontally
Yep.
and this and the vertical queen cell.
Yep.
See,
Okay.
make sure you see that difference.
Yep.
And that now when you look at your own, you can see how revealing this technique is if you lift your box up and you look underneath, right? Now there could be swarm cells way up here, but it doesn't matter. You're already gotten all the indication you need from the bottom. Right, that's why it's a good technique. Now you know that there's nothing in this cell. Sometimes you find a worker beekeeper. See that little flap they leave?
Yeah.
They leave that little flap there, so that fools you, because if you're a new beekeeper and you see that is closed, you'll say, "Oh, that's a good swarm cell," but it's not, because. See him? All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. So it's going to take.
All right, let's
how
wrap
long?
it up then.
How long does it take for one queen? If let's just say hypothetically, there's
Well, that was 16 days.
okay.
So it takes 16 days for the queen to be close or emerge out of the cell. Then it takes her another about 3 or 4 days for her to mature. She has to get her queen mandibular pheromone signal, chemical signal. She has to get that all in order, and then the bees will form what they call a retinue of her. And that's the first sign that she's ready. Once that retinue forms around her, you'll see that in your colonies once you do a lot of work on it.
Yeah.
Once that retinue's formed, then the bees know she's a viable queen, and then she can go out. Now that could take, like a day like today's a perfect day to go for a mating flight. There's drone congregation areas all over this area. She can go out and get mated very easily on a day like today. She may take a flight on the first day she's viable, and then the second, the science shows that about day 3 is the peak. So we always used to think, and we used to say, well, she goes on one mating flight and then that's it, but that's not the case. She can go on multiple mating flights. All right, so we've had such wonderful weather. Next week, this colony will be happening, if it's going to happen. Right, so if the queen that actually survives this fitness contest does get mated, it'll be next week. Because she's old enough now.
Yeah.
So you got to,
So you could just
that's
leave it
understanding
alone
the
for-
biology
yeah.
of it. Yeah.
That's
Oh yeah, you
thank
shouldn't. After a colony swarms, you should leave it alone. Making a split out of it was, I just wanted to show you how to do it. But you know what? We'll do it.
Yeah.
Hey Bill, what's the latest you would start a nuke without?
July, ended the second week in July or third week in July is about the end.
Okay.
You can't do after that. You're just won't get mated out. The time's working against you. Your first brood cycle's 21 days later. It's you're now in August. You might have a flow. You may not.
So would you still call this a weak colony?
No, this is a perfectly healthy colony. It was only, when I didn't see a lot of bees around it, this is probably the swarm. Or it could be the swarm.
And so you wouldn't want to add.
Let's just say it is, so we like.
Sounds so.
Does that mean you would not want to add that column onto this?
Well, before we took that colony out of we took that colony out of the tree, right? We had it on the branch.
Yes.
Could have walked over and shook it into this colony.
And put it right back where it came from.
Assuming let's say we went to all this yard, and this is the only one with swarm cells. It came from here.
Yes.
We could shake it back in.
Yeah.
Why? Because it doesn't have a place to live yet. But now that it's in that box, even for that short period of time, it's too late. They've already oriented to that box over there, but we could shake her back in. And if it was the mated queen, what would happen is the mated queen would then end up in a fitness context as one of the virgins. And unfortunate part about that is that the virgin queens are more flexible. They're not gravid. They don't have big ovaries yet, and they have a higher level of a sting volume in the sting sac.
Mm.
So they're likely
they're like
they're likely to win the fitness contest with me.
But wouldn't that be a good thing, Bill, for the new virgin to be the new queen?
Yeah. So we're gonna,
So you're not going to combine these.
no, I'm not gonna combine them. Or are we?
No.
What's the vote?
No. I mean, if you didn't have a
Not
quick,
combine them, but we could put the box on top of here,
yeah,
right?
if you didn't have a quick.
It's not over yet. Don't go anywhere. Don't go too far. You're not done. There you go. Yeah, there you go. Look at that. And when you get to a bee, you can see them on your side. Just go slow. They'll move. See it? See it move out of the way? No problem. Well, it's stuck.
You got one stuck.
Yeah, I
one.
got it. That's
Let him. Yeah.
one. Are you kidding
There
me?
you
You can
go.
have 20.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. That was good. That was smooth.
All right. Double screen board. You ready? You're going to flip this around like this. So this is in the. Ooh, you did it that way, huh? All right. Yeah. Hold it up. So we're going to want this colony to fly out in this direction, right here. That way. So what we're going to do is you're going to just put it right on top now. I'm going to open this door before you do that and just put it right down. Okay.
So 2 colonies on
Why
one
are you
stack.
doing this?
So because I don't have an extra hive stand.
Oh, I see.
Because you're not trying to expand the number of hives you have.
I don't want to do that either. So we can combine them very easily this way.
Oh, okay.
All right, so now we have a double screen on here, right? The bees
Natural.
cannot combine in this configuration. 2 screens here, you saw that, right?
Right.
These doors, right, are little entryways. If I opened up this door, bees could go to the bottom colony. If I open up the top door, bees go into the top colony. So I'm going to fly them out of this door here.
Can you make those, or
No, you can buy them. They're called double screens or Snell Grove boards. Right? So they're going to fly this way. I didn't want to fly them out of the back because that would violate our teaching yard rule, right? Because then we would have bees flying out of the back. Right? So now, you're going to run these like this all season. You have 2 really productive colonies. You can exchange foragers. Right? So the foragers will work this door. Now, if you wanted to, if this colony's really strong, has lots of foragers, and this one doesn't have as many, you can, once they're oriented into using this door, you can close it and open the bottom one, and then the returning field force will go down into the bottom colony. And remember, any bee bringing back gifts will not be eliminated from the colony, right? So they'll allow them to come in. Then you go over here and open up this door, and they start to use this as the entrance from the top colony. Same thing, if you wanted to get a field force into the bottom box, into this top box, you would open one of these doors, and then the bees will start using that, and then you close it and open up the top, and you can move them. So you can balance the field force between these 2 columns.
Wow.
Very complicated, but
Sounds like beef.
really
interesting to do.
Yeah.
All right, do we have a queen in here? Can we find out at this point if we have a queen?
looks like? Well, unless we see her.
Well, we can find her now because we're in the comb. I'm just going to take a quick look and see if she's in there.
She mark.
Bill, would you test the swarm for mites?
Uh,
Or you put it on a hive that doesn't have
Yes, you can do that. I don't usually, but you can. Well, if she's one of our mated queens here, she'll be marked. Just going to look really quick, and we're going to end this session.
You wouldn't put the empty frames on the outside?
You can do that. I mean, have they taken to this colony or what?
Yeah.
Now, if she's a virgin, it's because she's going to be hard to find. If she's mated, she could be laying already. They're going to have to get off their duff and start foraging, and that won't be easy for them. So what I'll do is I'll go mix up some 2 to 1, and I'll bring it back, and I will feed them for a day or two so they can get some stores in them, so they don't have to struggle to try to live, because they've been hanging on that bush for 4 or 5 days. So
How do you know that?
somebody saw them there and said to me, "Hey, you know, there's bees hanging on a bush near you in your bee
I
hive."
thought that like swarms were like emergent issues. They actually hang for a while.
They can, if they can't find if a bivouac can't find a permanent location, they'll hang forever there.
Okay.
They'll start to build wax. Right, so hear that sound?
Yep.
That's the vacuum cleaner sound that they're making. Lots of times when a colony is making that sound, it's queenless. It's making like a vacuum cleaner sound.
Like that hum?
Yep, you hear it?
Mine do that.
Yeah, mine do that, but
Yeah,
I saw the
mine do
queen.
that when it's clean. Yeah, I saw queen too. So yeah, they're a lot. I mean, they're many reasons they're usable. Yeah.
I'm just curious at this point. You know,
Usually mine do it when they're annoyed with me having open.
all right, we're gonna have to keep an eye on it. We didn't spot her. Well, one more frame, and then we let go. But we didn't spot her, so we got to keep an eye to make sure there is actually a queen. And it might be queenless, and that's why they didn't go anywhere. But it doesn't. I don't think so. I think there was got to be a queen or somewhere. Oh,
There she is.
I just saw her. Yeah.
Right up there.
You see her still? Point her out. I just saw her. You still see her? Because I don't see her.
Oh,
She went on
drones.
the other
Yeah,
side.
just drone.
Oh.
Maybe it was a drone.
Yeah, maybe.
Because I looked, I saw the flash. I said, "That's a queen."
Is she marked?
I don't think she. The one I thought I saw a queen. If it's a virgin, they run. They're just so hard to find. Okay, I'm gonna feed them a little bit. Now I'm gonna check back. See, they already spilled their guts in these cells. These frames didn't have anything in them. So when they left this colony, whatever colony they left, they took some nectar with them. And the thing they do immediately when they get back on comb, like we just put them on this comb, is they regurgitate it into cells. And that's what they did there. All of that nectar came from their honey stomachs.
Nice.
So they brought a little bit with them to try to survive. All right, guys, we're done for today.
Bill, these are always
This
helpful.
was
Thank
great.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we had some fun too.